Well, hello and welcome to another episode of Lifeline for Daily Living. Yes, this is the place where you can find the answers to your mental health, relationship, and family questions. I'm your host, Jim Hewitt. Glad you've tuned in today. I think you're going to find today's topic very interesting, so I hope you'll stay tuned because we'll be right back. All right. Hey, welcome back to another episode of Lifeline for Daily Living. So glad that you've joined me again today. Hey, we are in the second week of a brand new year. How you doing so far? Have things started to kind of click for you? Have you started off the new year with a real bang and looking forward to what's going to happen, the opportunities that's going to be afforded to you in this new year? I hope so. Last week, we started looking at this whole new year and what are some things that can happen that we can seize those opportunities for the new year and be successful in the new year. And so last week we looked at 5 things. I want to just kind of recap real quick what those 5 things were, and then we're going to look at 5 more today. We looked at in order to move forward in this brand new year and make it everything that we would like for it to be, we need to leave the past year in the past. There's nothing you can do about the mistakes or the missed opportunities of last year. There's nothing you can do about that. There's nothing you can do about maybe broken relationships over the past year. There's nothing you can do about that. You need to begin to move forward now in the second week of the new year. You need to begin to move forward and so that you can have all the opportunities that can be afforded to you without looking back. We also looked at how in this new year, how do we define success? What is that about? And I encouraged you, if you haven't already, listen now, you can do this now. Get out a sheet of paper and write out this sentence. In this new year, I believe success involves, and then you complete that sentence. Write it out. I believe success involves whatever it might be. The reason I ask you to write that out, if you haven't already, is because, the old saying, if you shoot at nothing, you'll hit it every time. Well, that's what I'm talking about here. Once you write it down, then it becomes really more definable and more real once we see that. Put it on a piece of paper, put it up wherever, beside your bed, wherever you can see it when you get up in the morning and when you go to bed at night. Have that in front of you. I believe success involves what? And then we looked at defining long-term success and not just short-term success. What is it that you would like to accomplish this year? Have that broad kind of goal in front of you, and then you can just begin to parse it down into smaller pieces, smaller chunks of short-term goals. But we need to have that long-term goal and then the short-term goal that gets us to that long-term goal. And then being able to define what that foundation that needs to be set for us to reach that ultimate goal. What is it we need to do now, right here in the second week of the new year? What do I need to do now in order for me to reach that goal? And then we also looked at the possibility of renewing or deepening relationships. Maybe this is a year in which you need to renew a relationship. Maybe that's grown old or stale or stagnant, and maybe you've just kind of been distant from whoever it might be. To renew that relationship or to deepen the relationship, to take it to the next level, to take it deeper than it was last year. Those are the things that we looked at last week. Now, what I want to do is pick up this week and give you 5 more things to think about as you begin to think in terms of this brand new year and what you want to accomplish. First of all, let's create a bucket list. Now, bucket lists have become very popular. There was a movie that was put out some time ago that involved the bucket list. Making up a bucket list. Now, the bucket list I'm talking about is not a bucket list, of things to accomplish before you die. I'm talking about a bucket list And certainly that's good, right? I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But the bucket list I'm talking about is for this next year. Because if you go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you list those things, then what happens as you accomplish them, guess what you get to do? You get to check it off your list, and check it off your list, and check it off your list. See that? And so when you do that, see, then you can pat yourself on the back, and that you know that you're moving forward. You know that you're accomplishing something. So now you feel like you're moving forward. You're not stagnant. Now, in order to get the bucket list going, check off the things, maybe even since last week. Check off the thing that you decided last week that you were going to start doing. Maybe it was something like you were going to decide to go back to school. Okay, now with that decision, what you need to do is start checking into what school is available. Now a lot of things are done online. Do I want to do online, or do I want to go sit in the classroom? How much is that going to cost? How much do I need to budget for that? So on and so forth. See, then you can check that off. It gives you a sense of accomplishment. Maybe this last year, you came to December 31st of last year, and I didn't accomplish hardly anything of what I set out to accomplish. I get that. Well, now you can remember this is a fresh start. This is a fresh start. And so now you can get out a piece of paper and write on that bucket list, and then once you accomplish 1, then you check it off. 2, you check it off. 3, you check it off, and you keep going on down the list. And by the time you come to December 31st of this year, you will look back at that list and you will see all kinds of accomplishments. So I would encourage you to make a bucket list for this current year that we're in. Next, I think it's important that we find time to meditate. We find time to get alone, and for me, to get alone and just contemplate my relationship with God, His relationship with me, and what God wants to accomplish in and through me. What is it that God is trying to teach me? Am I teachable? Or is there something blocking God being able to teach me something? This would be a wonderful, wonderful way to start this new year if you haven't done it already. Maybe your goal would be to, as far as meditating, is to get into a Bible study group. Get into a study group. A lot of churches now are doing home study groups, or home groups, where you meet in somebody's home every week, and you just open up Scripture and you read and you soak it in. Maybe you need to get into a small group in a church setting on Sunday morning. There's a lot of churches that have those small groups where you can just kind of get fed and get challenged and get renewed every week. Maybe you've had some tragedy this last year, and you want to get a group of people together to not just focus on the tragedy, but to grow and to heal from all of that. Maybe you need to join a Bible study group. Again, you can do that online, or you can go to your local church or a local church, and you can do it that way. But you need to be intentional about it. Okay. I don't know about you, but I live by a schedule. I can go to my calendar, and everything that I'm supposed to be doing during the course of a day is on that calendar. And what I found is, if I don't calendar something, if I don't put it on my calendar, then it just kind of goes by the wayside. This is something you have to be intentional about. And this is not something to be done just once a month or whenever you get an opportunity, because what happens is that time just gets edged out. And I'm not talking about a full hour. Okay, you don't need a full hour to do what I'm asking you to do and meditate. You don't need that. In fact, that could be detrimental, because it gets to be really laborious. There's a lot of Bible study books out there that will guide you in a certain kind of study. One that comes to mind is Knowing the Mind of Christ. That's a wonderful, it's an 8-week study. there's a workbook that goes along with it, and you can go through the workbook. It's that kind of thing, so that you have a guided study, and you're not just kind of sitting there floundering as to, well, gee, what do I need to do next? Make it intentional. Make it intentional that you grow through private meditation. When you look at the Gospels, Jesus got away from the press of the people and from the ministry that he was doing just to commune and to meditate with the Father. Now, I would think if it's important enough for him to do that, it's important enough for us to do that. It could take on many things. It doesn't have to be the same way for everybody. Maybe for you, it's sitting down and reading a passage of Scripture and reflecting on that and writing in a journal. There's a lot of different ways that you could do. Here's the important thing, is that you start doing that. If you've not been doing that, that you start doing that, and start doing that today. Set aside a time that's alone time for you to meditate. Next, I would encourage you to volunteer your time. Now, that comes in a lot of different ways, okay? You could do civic organizations. They're always looking for volunteers. Nursing homes are looking for volunteers to come in and just visit with the residents. Hospitals are looking for volunteers. Certainly churches are looking for volunteers. Whatever it is, whatever organization that you want to be involved in, go do that. Volunteer your time. You might say, well, you don't understand, Jim. I'm really busy. Well, we're all busy. But here's the thing. Volunteering my time gives me an opportunity to give to others, to get outside of myself and to give to others. It may be aligning yourself with a certain group of people that you feel comfortable with in just giving your time to. It could be the local soccer team, it could be the baseball team, it could be, again, there's hundreds of different organizations that just are begging for volunteers. Volunteering gets you to thinking about other people, okay, and not just yourself. I think all too often, we sit around thinking only about ourselves. We're thinking about what's happening to me and what's happening to me, and we just kind of get self-absorbed, and we really live in that kind of culture that kind of encourages that self-absorption. It's all about me. Well, volunteering gets us to thinking about and acting in the interests of others, and then when we act in the interests of others, guess what? We get return for that. So invest your time in others, whether it's children, whether it's adults, whether it's baseball, football, whatever it is, a church organization, whatever it is, volunteer for. Give yourself away, and you will find this year that you will come to December 31st of this year, and you will have been rewarded tenfold because of the time you're giving of your time to others. Next, and this I think this is a kind of a difficult one, and that is clear out physical and emotional clutter. Wow. Clear out clutter, both physical and emotional. All of us have a junk room, okay, in our house. I mean, we do. We all have a junk room in our where we just throw junk in there, and we say, one of these days I'll get to that, clean that out. But yeah, there goes the junk. Okay, all of us have that. Get rid of the clutter. Get rid of the clutter in order to make space for something new. See, I can't do something with a certain space unless I clear out the clutter and then create a new space. See that? What is it in your life that needs to be cleared out? What's the clutter? The clutter from last year. What's the clutter? And then identify that, maybe even write that down, and then start one by one clearing that out. See, it's impossible to move forward if we have all that clutter. Just you kind of get to where you just kind of feel pinned in by all the clutter. We can't move forward if we're continuing to look at all the clutter around us. Now, it may seem kind of overwhelming at first. I get that. But if you start with, it's kind of like you start with one room and then you clear the clutter out of that room, and then once that's done, you celebrate that, and then you go to the next room and do this, and you will find after a while that all the clutter has been removed. You and I cannot move forward in this new year with clutter that we carried with us from last year. There's no way that you and I can shift to a more positive state of mind if we're still carrying around that old baggage. It just doesn't work. It's old. It's worn out. We want something new. We want something fresh. That's what this whole new year is about. It's about getting a fresh start to our life, having one more chance. Okay, one more chance to get this thing right, to move forward without all the clutter that's behind us. Now, that may mean that here's the tough part of this. That may mean that you need to leave some people behind. People tend to clutter our lives. Negative kind of people clutter our lives. And if we're around them, some time ago, several months ago, I did a podcast on toxic relationships. And sometimes when we're around those toxic people, they clutter our lives, they clutter our heads with negative messages, with just being around negativity. Well, sometimes what needs to happen is we need to clear the clutter of people, negative people, out of our lives. That may mean saying, see you later, I'm moving forward. If you want to stay back there, that's fine, but I'm moving forward. It may mean, you know what, if you choose to stay there, I don't want to stay there, I'm moving forward. It may involve not just see you later, but goodbye. Goodbye to that clutter. And that clutter could involve people. It could be people just as much as it could be things. So clear out physical and emotional clutter. Finally, I want you to develop, and I talked about this a little bit last week, I want you to develop ongoing amnesia. Now that may sound really strange. Amnesia is where you just totally forget about stuff. Okay, that's amnesia. What I'm talking about here is forget about what didn't work last year. Think about what you did last year and it didn't work, and you tried it and it didn't work, and you tried it and it didn't work. Okay, I've been reading a book. It's a wonderful, wonderful book, and I may do a series of podcasts on it sometime in the near future. And it's called Never Go Back. Never go back. Never go back to the stuff that didn't work. Never, ever, ever go back. I just real recently, a couple of weeks ago, my wife and I took our granddaughters up to a house that I was raised in. Me and my siblings were raised in. And it is nothing like what it was when I was, and it's just kind of sad to see that. And the flood of emotion, was there, thinking back when I was a kid and how the house used to look and how the yard used to look and how different, vastly different it is now. You can never go back. And so you don't want to go back to the things that didn't work. Maybe it was a relationship that didn't work. Maybe it was a place of employment that didn't work. Whatever it was, develop amnesia about that, forget about that in order to move forward. Now, celebrate the successes that you had last year and that you're going to have this year. But in order to do that, you need to forget about the past and move forward. See, I think a large part of life is about momentum. It's about getting started, and once we get started, moving forward, then we just do things and have perspectives and get involved with people that keep us moving forward. Positive momentum should be amplified and also reinforced. So you want people around you who will be supportive of you moving forward, not that's going to drag you back. See that? So those people that last year were toxic people in your life, hey, look, leave them behind. Leave them behind. Move forward. You're not going to be able to take them with you because their toxicity will just keep spilling over and over and over and over on you. Develop ongoing amnesia. Okay, that was then. This is now. Yesterday can't be repeated. I don't want to repeat that. You know, there's an old saying in the substance abuse world. It comes out of AA. Insanity is defined as doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Why go back to something that didn't work last year? Why try it again this year if it didn't work last year? See, that should be a lesson learned. Develop ongoing amnesia. And I think what will happen then is you'll move forward with you'll feel much lighter. The load will be much lighter, and you'll look forward to with anticipation what's going to happen in the new year. Now, let me kind of wrap some things up here. I think life is meant to be enjoyed. Now, you know, stuff happens, right? You know, we often say life gets in the way, but life is meant to be enjoyed. God put us here to enjoy life. Jesus himself said, "My joy I give it to you, not as the world gives, give I unto you." He has come to give us a superabundance of joy. There's a difference between joy and happiness, right? Happiness is external. Joy is internal. We only get, think about it, we only get one life. That's it. We only get one life. We only get one chance. And life is getting shorter and shorter and shorter. And I'm realizing that the older I get, the more I'm realizing how fast time flies by. You can never get yesterday back. If you squander today, you will never get it back. If you squander tomorrow, you'll never get it back. So why focus on this last year? You've got an opportunity for a fresh start, a new start this year. Life is not necessarily about accomplishments. It's not only about accomplishments. It's about relationships that we make along the way. If life was just simply about accomplishments, then we wouldn't care who we stepped over or who we stepped on in order to get to the top of the heap. It wouldn't matter. But see, once we get there, if we stepped on people and stepped over people, once we get there, then it's very lonely there. And so it's not just simply about accomplishments. It's about the relationships that are made along the way. You heard me say last week, and I'll say it again this week, that the journey is more important than the destination. It's what we learn and what we're exposed to and what we find out about ourselves and the people that we meet along the way. That's what it's about, not just the accomplishment. Certainly we want to accomplish something. That's what I've been talking about the last 2 weeks. We want to accomplish something. We want to keep moving forward. We want to have success. I get that, and I'm all about that. But it's the journey along the way. That's what this is about. And so as you look forward to the rest of this month and the months ahead and the weeks ahead, I trust that you will look forward to this new year with a sense of, I'm going to accomplish something. I want to do good things. I want to do great things. I've got a vision of what my year's going to be like. I'm going to write that down. I'm going to find out what success is. Success isn't about money or degrees or positions held. It's not about that. It's about the people that I meet along the way and how I grow. That's what it's about. So I trust that as you begin this new year, that you will have a different perspective about what a new year is all about and what you want to accomplish and what can be done in and through you and with you during this next year. I hope and trust that you will have the greatest of all years yet to come. Well, thanks for tuning in to this episode of Lifeline for Daily Living. If something I have said today has raised a question or maybe a concern, there are 3 ways that you can contact me. Number 1 is you can contact me by phone. My phone number is 573-732-4575. Again, 573-732-4575. You can also email me. My email address is lifelineonline@hotmail.com. Again, lifelineonline@hotmail.com. A third way you can contact me is that you can private message me if you're watching this on Facebook. If you have Facebook, You can private message me on Facebook. All you have to do is just go to that private message, and you can make an appointment. You can ask me a question, whatever it is. I want to talk to you about your potential and your opportunities for this next wonderful year. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you right here next time on Lifeline for Daily Living.